Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back, Force here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Fortnite's Battle Royale. This is an open world 100-person PvP game mode that follows a similar formula to other Battle Royale games. If you've ever played any of the mods or the standalone Battle Royale games, you'll have a basic understanding of what this is. It's free to play and available now on the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Mac, and here in this video, I wanted to kind of take you through the basics, give you a rundown of what this game is all about, how to play it, give you some tips, and show you some gameplay. Before we jump into all of that, though, I want to give a special shout out and thank you to Epic for sponsoring this video. I've been playing it a bunch this past week, and I appreciate them reaching out to me. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. So as I mentioned, 100-person PvP game in an open world. You all start off on the battle bus and you're dropped onto this island. You can jump out and land basically wherever you want. There are various cities scattered throughout the map, and depending on kind of, people have different preferences in terms of where they want to land. I usually like to land where there's going to be a bunch of other people because I think the early game action is a lot of fun in every Battle Royale game I've ever played. So you'll notice a couple of things here. I started off by picking up this shield buff, and then I opened this chest. Now, the shield buffs are nice because it's like an extra health bar, essentially. Above your base 100 health, each shield potion will give you 50 shield, that's the damage that will be taken off before you lose any health. And it's actually a huge, important thing in this mode. You'll probably have also noticed one of the big things about this game is the destructible environment. Quite literally everything outside of the terrain itself, all of these hay bales, all of the trees, any rocks, anything that you see that isn't actual physical ground can be destroyed, broken apart, shot through, whatever you want. Like, you could literally level this entire area so that all you would see is ground. It's actually pretty impressive. It's one of the things that I really liked about just base Fortnite in general, which is, there's a separation. There's the Fortnite Pve, which is like a wave-based survival progression kind of game, and then there's this new mode. This is the free-to-play thing that's just a battle royale. Kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of people seem to be pretty excited about it, and after playing it for the past week, I can see why. So I landed in this town, just getting some early game kills. You'll notice a few things here, like the weapons dropping on the ground. There's different rarities. There's like three basic things that you collect in terms of loot. There are weapons, items, and resources. So weapons are going to be, any of the pistols, the assault rifles, the submachine guns, the shotguns. There's also rockets and grenade launchers. Items include the healing things, the shield potion that you saw me use and talk about earlier. There's also traps in the game. And then the resources are used for the building mechanic, which you probably saw me build some stairs not too long ago. Caught a little guy out here in the open, missing a lot of my shots. I'm not always the greatest, but I have my moments. I have times where I shine. As I said, I've really enjoyed landing in these populated areas. I think it's nice to get some early game action. It's a great way to warm up. The last thing that I want in any Battle Royale game is to progress really far and then be like, just not be warmed up and ready for action once you get into the late game. So landing in these populated areas. And one big thing just in general in a lot of games that I've only really focused on in recent years is the sound. Like having some headphones or, at the very least turning up the sound so that you can hear footsteps, you can hear people shuffling by, you can hear people reloading. All of that stuff is ultra important. And that's kind of why I was able to, in short succession, take out these 4 people here, because I was trying to stay stealthy and listening for where they were and where they were creeping around. And I think right now I'm just doing some basic surveying here. So we're in the Fatal Fields. This is one of various, I guess what we'd call landmarks in the game. As I mentioned, there are several big points of interest in towns that you can land at, and the ones that are labeled like this tend to be the best for a high quantity of loot, but at the same time, this is also where you get a lot of people dropping down into. So it's kind of a risk and reward thing. You can go there, and there's a lot more opportunity for these chests, for ammo, for good weapons. There's just a lot more potential for that stuff to spawn with the greater density of buildings and things of that nature. But everyone knows that, so more people go there, so it's a more dangerous spot. So you kind of either have to be confident in your gameplay and your ability to outplay those people, or just land there, loot up real quick, and try to get out alive with some good loot. It's really up to you. But yeah, I like that stuff. Outside of these big territories, there's also some smaller cities and encampments. You'll find these like little huts and sheds scattered throughout the map, and sometimes a little house or two, and they'll be unlabeled, but there'll be other decent opportunities for loot. So taking a little look at the building right here, I don't know, I think I was just doing this to try to have some sort of a sniper nest, kind of, is what I was thinking. The cool thing about the building is there's a lot that you can do. You notice in the lower right, there are 4 basic structures. So there's walls, ceilings, and floors, stairs, and then like actual roof things. That's what like that pyramid looking one is. But beyond just the base version of them, you can alter them. So I could take this kind of slanted staircase, for example, and make it one that switches back. Oh, a little sniper action happening here. I don't know if I end up finding and taking this guy out. Oh, I do see him. Oh, so this is where you're going to see the destructible environment. Look at this. One of the cool things about this game is that camping isn't nearly as prevalent, because unless it's terrain, which can't be destroyed, any trees or buildings can be blown up at any point. So if you're relying on a rock or a tree or even a building for cover, that isn't super reliable, because if somebody spots you, they can either shoot through it or, you know, toss a grenade, use a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher. Anything at any point can be broken down. Heck, even if they get close enough, they can pull out their pickaxe and just chop down whatever you're in. So beyond hill cover and these little nooks and crannies like you're seeing here, there's really no great opportunities to camp. Now, obviously, if you were to build up this huge structure, you got the 3 resources: the wood, the stone, and the metal. The metal being the most durable one, the hardest to kill, the best structurally. I think it's rarer, like you're less likely to find metal compared to wood. I definitely notice in my games, I'll end up sometimes with hundreds and hundreds, even capped wood, but the metal is much harder to come by, unless you're getting a lot of kills and in the later game. And, you know, you could also, like, instead, you're seeing me fight a lot of people here early on, and that's been my focus. You'll notice that you see that white circle across the minimap. That is the edge of the safe zone. Even look at this with the building mechanic. Like, I'm just deciding I'm going to build myself a little ramp to my little sniper nest here, you know, just for the heck of it. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking here. The games play so differently from match to match. Sometimes I'm never building anything. Sometimes I'm doing this with like a huge staircase leading to my sniper nest, and I've got walls to cover me from the sides. Like, I guess I was feeling pretty confident, and it makes good reason. You know, you don't always happen to land in a town that will include the first circle. If you've never played a battle royale game, simply put, there'll be a circle on the map, and that circle gets smaller and smaller. It's like procedurally placed or randomly placed, whatever particular vocabulary or words you want to use for it. But a circle will be placed on the map at the start of the game, I think like after a minute or two. And then, you know, if you're not in it, you have to go to it, because if you're outside of the circle, you'll take damage, and that damage gets progressively more and more as the game goes on. So the fact that I landed in a town inside of the circle is probably what led to me being confident for setting up this kind of sniper nest thing that I did, and just chilling. Like, look at this, I've got all these. It's really, I don't know. It's a pretty neat twist on the traditional battle royale formula, being able to just like build this cover and build these sniper positions and build staircases and walkways pretty much wherever you want. As long as you have the resources, you can really do all sorts of things. And I'm just doing the basic stuff. You know, you can build walls with windows and doors and all sorts of things. Looks like I'm going through trying to pick my ideal setup. Usually I carry 2 to 3 weapons. I don't typically carry 4, because I want to save the last 2 slots for medical supplies or grenades. The bolt action sniper rifle, as you just saw, is absolutely phenomenal. It's actually, I think, it's one of the best weapons in the game right now. Like, I think there's no question about that. It's a one-shot kill to anyone without shield on, and you don't even have to get a headshot. So it's a one-shot body shot kill to anyone who just has 100 health. And the thing about the shields is, like, they're a little harder to come by. It's a little more difficult. You don't always end up finding them, or a lot of times, you know, someone will find it, but you usually use it right away, because why not? There's no reason not to, and have it take up inventory space unless you already have 100 shields. If you find a shield potion, you use it right away. So fighting someone and killing them, a lot of times you just take away the shield that they had, and they're not carrying any extra shield pots. So that is another big key thing. If you end up checking this game out, prioritize shields. Like, those are super valuable and give you a huge advantage in any gunfight, because yeah, it is essentially a second health bar. Very, very strong. And then also with the, found myself a nice assault rifle, one of my favorite medium to close range assault rifles there. For the further range things, you want something with a scope, and this Scar doesn't have that. But so I do get caught outside the circle here. Bit of a mistake. I got a bit greedy trying to stay late and looting, so I'm going to take a bit of damage here. Interesting note about the circle mechanic in relation to shields is that it doesn't burn through the shields. So you'll see that my health is ticking down slowly, and I actually like this, because what it ends up meaning is that if you have shields, you retain those shields for the firefight, whatever one happens, once you get outside of the damage portion of the circle. Once you get back into the regular area, you can heal up, and then you still have your shield for any firefight that takes place. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any of the big health kits right now. You'll notice I have 2 sections of the small bandages, and those will only heal you up to a maximum of 75 out of 100. Those big health packs, which is the other healing in this game, that will get you to a full 100. So it's a priority to find shields, to find those big med kits, and then to find some good weapons. I usually go for my general setup, a little different here. My general setup is the bolt-action sniper rifle, which is the blue one. There's a purple sniper rifle, but that's semi-auto, and it's actually, in my opinion, not as good, because as I mentioned, the bolt-action one is a one-shot kill to anyone without a shield. It's very, very strong. I usually go for that. A close to medium range assault rifle, you know, usually like a one-tap thing, something similar to the Scar, and then a close range weapon like a semi-shotgun or something like that. But this time I've got a scoped assault rifle, a close to medium range assault rifle, and then the sniper rifle. We'll see if I end up swapping it up at any point. I don't entirely remember what ended up happening in this match. Something that you haven't seen me use at the moment, we've done a lot of the kind of the stuff that this game has, like the building and all of that stuff, showing off the destructible environments. But traps, I don't think you're going to see me use it all in this game, but they're pretty neat. You basically can put them on the ground or the floor or the ceiling, depending on the trap type, and they provide like these stealth kills. They're basically they're traps. They're stationary things that will take out anyone who walks into them. So if anyone's unfortunate enough to try to push on you if you're camping a building and they don't notice the traps there, like there's spike traps and electrocute traps and things like that, they'll just die. Now, to counter their strength of just being this static thing that can just kill somebody, they tend to make a fair amount of noise. So as long as, again, it goes back to the listening thing that I talked about earlier. As long as you're listening, you shouldn't get completely destroyed. Look at that. The bolt-action sniper rifle. Guys, it's too good. Please use it if you find it. The blue one. Just remember, the blue sniper rifle, it's better than the purple one. And this could change, of course, if they add more weapons of various rarities. I would love if they added a purple bolt-action rifle, but that's not the case at the moment. So here's me showing off the destructible. After killing that second guy who ran up there, he probably heard the gunfight and ran up. He's like, I want to see what's going on. He might have seen all that loot sitting at the top of the hill. He's like, yeah, maybe I could collect it before the person who kills him shows up. Didn't happen, but I destroyed the stairs, and the way it works is if you break the foundation of anything that anyone's built, the rest of it all comes crashing down. So to prevent someone else from rushing me while I was looting here, I break the base, and then that way, if they want to get up here, they're gonna have to build something else, and that building is fairly loud, so I would hear it happening. So yeah, just the building and destruction in this game is really cool. It's a nice element, and as I mentioned earlier, I think it adds a really nice twist to the standard basic formula. So you've been seeing me progress here. As you can see, the circle gets smaller and smaller. What we try to do is get inside there. So that was not a one-shot kill. Why? Because he had shield. If you notice, there was a little bit of blue health that popped up besides the additional damage that I did was white. And then also worth mentioning, if you get a critical hit at any point, which will be a headshot, that will show up as a yellow. I don't end up spotting him here. I was hoping that he would continue to peek me, maybe after noticing that I had the bolt action rifle. A lot of players know how strong that is, so once they hear it, they kind of take cover. He decided to back. He decided just to head back there. So the circles get smaller and smaller. You can see it pushing in. There's also a nice little timer there that shows how much time until it fully closes. I think that's a nice thing. It gives you a good idea of it gives you just a good idea of how much time that you have before you have to move forward. And I think I'm just rushing up here to try to see if I can find that guy who was on the hill. I think he ends up eluding me. I still have no clue where he ended up going. Probably dipping behind that valley over there or something. So yeah, we've got the building, we've got the traps, which again, I don't really use in this game, but they're pretty cool. If you're ever camping a building, if you're ever in one of those large structures and you hear people pushing up on you and you have a trap, just place that down. A lot of people will walk into it. I feel like not a lot of people pay enough attention to avoid those. It's also worth noting that there is a squad version of this game. I played that a ton over the past few days with a couple of buddies that I play games on Twitch with a few friends pretty much all the time, and we had a lot of fun with it. Squads was enjoyable. The difference in squads is obviously you're playing with other people, but there's also a down but not out mechanic. So if somebody dies, you have the opportunity to revive them. You need to kill everybody twice, essentially, in squads. I guess they do that just to make it, I don't know, more fun and focused on coordination and team play. I heard a little bit of a fight over here. Go to clean it up. High ground, ultra important. I mean, I think that's the case for any shooting game. Whenever you can get the high ground, if you could get on top of a hill or a mountain or whatever, it's usually a pretty good idea. So there was a purple shotgun back there. I didn't swap it out. I think nowadays I would. I guess at this point in this particular match that we're looking at, I wanted to keep the double distance ones, but having one scoped weapon is usually enough. The problem is that as good as the SCAR is that I have, this assault rifle, if someone's right next to me with a shotgun, they're gonna win. Especially if they have shields. The shotgun will just do too much damage too fast for me to kill them with just this SCAR. So I think if I were to be playing this match right now, I would have swapped out for either a purple SMG or a purple shotgun, but in this particular game, I didn't end up doing that. As you can see, there's only 6 people remaining, so 5 including me here, and I do, this was obviously a really good game. I picked this particular match to show you, but the reason I wanted to show it to you, other than, hey, look at me, guys. The reason I wanted to show this to you is I think it kind of ran the gambit and showed, it was just a good example of gameplay and a good example of a lot of what this game has to offer. A lot of the different things that you can do, trying to set up these different, I mean, look at all that stuff on the left. That's all player built. So this guy's trying to make this place to camp in. He's getting shot at from down over there. I'm going to actually destroy this terrain here. The destroyable environment is really cool. Just how good of a job that does of preventing camping. Camping, I know for a lot of people can be a real nuisance in games like this, and camping is really cut back drastically in this battle royale game, in Fortnite's battle royale. Another thing about this game is that the rounds are generally fairly short, anywhere between like 15 and 20 minutes, obviously shorter if you die earlier, but most full matches, any games that I've won, have been about 20 minutes. They don't push too long. So it's one of those, beyond the game itself kind of being cartoony and arcadey looking, the gunplay is a bit more arcadey, and also just it's shorter. So it's a more condensed experience, and I think that a lot of people will enjoy that. It's kind of one of those things, you get these different games, like you look at games like Dota and League of Legends, those games tend to have, 30 to 60 minutes depending on them, or then you have a game like Heroes of the Storm, which is another MOBA, but it's much more quicker, more action-packed, and more, I guess, just quickly consumable and repeatable. And that's sort of what they're going for with Fortnite. It's shorter matches compared to a lot of other Battle Royale games, and it's just more arcadey in general. So there's a lot of interesting things about this game. They've got some improvements in the works. As I mentioned, the gunplay is a little arcadey. There's a fair amount of bloom, especially to like the assault rifles. Even though they're hit scan rifles, you'll notice that the crosshairs, even when I'm maximizing my accuracy, on anything but a scoped weapon, the crosshairs are still fairly spread out. So you can have your dot straight on somebody and still miss them simply because there's a lot of spread and a lot of bloom with the accuracy of those weapons. So that I guess they're planning to tighten that up in the future. They're also going to be adding crate drops. That's something you'll probably be familiar with if you play any of the other Battle Royale games, with like a high risk, high reward drop that comes by. People are going to push to that. It'll be a point of conflict. It'll be a point of interest for people. And if you get there and you survive, you'll assumably be rewarded handsomely. Right now, as I mentioned, there's the solo, as you can see. There's squads that I've played with my buddies, and there's also going to be duos coming soon. And then beyond that, there will be some leaderboards and stat tracking. But that is basically it. Again, I wanted to just take you through a match, show you guys some gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, a shout out and thank you to Epic for sponsoring this. And I think the cool thing about it is I know people can be, weary of sponsored content. I was here just to show you some stuff and talk about the game. Make your own decision. It's free to play. You can check it out at any point. No harm in it. If you want to help me out, there's a link in the description below. If you download the game through that link, it'd be nice for me. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good one. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.